So, welcome everyone. This is Numan speaking. This is going to be our first bridge session. And as you may know, we had our bridge event last year around this time. But because of COVID-19, we decided to basically move all the events to the online, and we a little bit pivoted and then decided to do monthly small webinars or sessions so that we can keep inform our network, our investors, our guests, and all the other people in the ecosystem. This time we have three founders from App Samurai, Emre, and Aykut. So further to do, I leave the words to them, and then I will be just behind the scenes and then leaving the podium to both of you guys, or three of you actually. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for hosting us, Numan. It's a pleasure for us to be here. Hi, everyone. So thank you for being with us today. Let me start with introducing myself. I'm Emre, CEO of App Samurai. After college, I started my career in PwC, then worked for a few big Turkish corporations. Before founding App Samurai with my co-founders, I was the sales director at Oracle. We co-founded App Samurai in 2016. We have been in Techstars program, and so far we raised 4.5 million from reputable investors, including 212. We are a mobile tech company with three main solutions dedicated to complete mobile user cycle. From the user acquisition platform with over 100 integrated ad resources, we also have to the real-time ad fraud prevention suite and to Storyly, the user engagement and retention tool. Storyly is the world's first provider of in-app stories for app owners, and we promise to disrupt and equalize the mobile app industry. We are creating innovative solutions and opportunities that respond to the ever-changing and dynamic mobile app ecosystem. It's changing rapidly, as I said, and we believe that we are the team creating the best-in-class tech solutions to help mobile app owners to adapt these changes. Today, I am here with Emre, our head of people, and Aykut, our head of products. I guess you can introduce yourself, Emre.
Sure. It's great to be here. I have a career in people and culture. Before App Samurai, I was part of a mobile gaming studio called Gram Games. I joined when it was a small studio, and we were able to scale it up. Previously, before Gram Games, I was in Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, for a few years, and doing people and culture, working on people and culture. And then that's it basically, and great to be here.
Thank you, Emre. It's great to be here. And this is Aykut. And I'm graduated from Bilkent University Computer Science Department. Then I joined Microsoft as a software consultant. After the consultancy experience, I created my own startup and I failed that startup. And then I have been in product management for 7 years now. And I'm working as head of product, as Emre told you, and I'm leading all the product team.
Thank you. We discussed what to aim today and agreed on two main goals and created today's agenda based on these goals. First, we start with the big picture because we believe that we are in a strange world today, especially this year. And we would like to show how a startup overcome unlimited uncertainties, especially during this pandemic. Then we zoom into the product level and show how we respond, how we manage these challenges, especially in customer behavior level. So there's a change in customer behavior, and we want to show how we respond that and apply it to our product agenda. And here we explain the future of mobile and how we will dominate this feature. Emre, let's start with the first part, the big picture, and how we are navigating this uncertainty.
Sure. I think we have already covered who we are section a bit, and then I think it's also worth noting, since we are called App Samurai, our company mythology, as we call it, is based on the sort of the Japanese culture a lot. So during this presentation, we will be using a lot of imagery from Japan, which sort of we feel it reflects who we are and how we do it. Since today's theme is around navigating the blue oceans, why not start with a ship? As Emre mentioned, this is sort of what we do and how we work. And today we wanted this to be a sort of a candid discussion, and we will show you real screenshots from some of the stuff we have. And also, please feel free to ask questions anytime, and we are happy to share what we do. I think we can, since we are using the Asian theme, it's worth mentioning. We will be also we can look at the Asian calendars, which are based on different animals, and let's roll back to the beginning of the year, when the ocean was relatively calm, when the blue ocean was relatively calm. So I think it would make sense to go back to the very first meeting we had in January, which was what we call Samurai Con. It was a meeting at the beginning of the year in January. We had people, samurais, who joined us from a lot of different cities like Berlin, Barcelona, San Francisco, New York, Colorado, Tel Aviv. And we had a guest speaker from France. So you could imagine this sort of great get together and meeting that we had. We were full of hope, and that's why we can call this sort of the first chapter, the year of the pig. In Asian calendars, it was still the year of the pig because they changed the year in January 25th. So it sort of fits with the theme of the year as well, because pig years are usually generous and relatively hopeful, and that's also how we thought it's going to be, and that's sort of the first chapter. And of course, there was a bat involved with the pig, and then suddenly we have to sort of roll forward to the next chapter, which was the beginning of March. Beginning of March, of course, now it's also in Asian calendars. It's the year of the rat. And the year of the rat is significant because we are supposed to be resourceful, quick-witted, and kind to each other. So it really fits in with the whole change of the sentiment. It wasn't just change of the year, but also it was the change of the moving forward, this is during the beginning of March. This is how things look like. This is a very famous Japanese picture called the Kanagawa wave, but it accurately depicts our sort of our situation or perception. Suddenly we are in the middle of the ocean, and it means as a startup, it's usually really rough out there. And then with the whole pandemic rolling over, back then it was a lot more elusive. We didn't know a lot about it and how it worked, how it spread, and so things looked really confusing for all of us. And so we had to do something, and that was sort of the main theme. That's how we felt during the beginning of March. And when we say blue oceans, we picked the title on purpose. Blue oceans in real life, they don't always look calm. Sometimes they're very there's a storm. That's also how it looked in the beginning of March. For startups, for businesses, we are always chasing blue oceans and opportunities, and we like being out there. but at the same time, sometimes things like a black swan event happens, like a pandemic, so things look very differently. So during the beginning of the year, we were partying maybe in a way happily, but then in March things took a different turn, and then we had to do something. So that brings us to the next chapter, which we can say all hands on deck. So we couldn't just see how it goes, and also it's also worth mentioning that our ship looks more like this, thanks to our customers, our investors like 212 and other investors, and of course the teammates. But still, there's a storm out there, and on the upper left corner you can see a captain sort of pointing forward, and that's how we took it. We have to do something, we have to get together, it's all hands on deck, nobody is resting. It's a chaos, but it's an organized chaos in a way, and that's how we move forward. And we can look at the things that we do. The first thing was to put on life jackets, right? That's usually the logical thing to do, so that we have to put on some sort of a protection for ourselves, for our teams, for the customers. And we have we have three main categories for protecting ourselves and sort of building a cultural resiliency. First of all, is we have to really make sure mentally we are safe. Because during times like this was our priority. We have to make sure everybody at the company is mentally prepared, and we know it's not going to be easy. We know things are going to get a lot more difficult, but we have to provide the mental stability and well-being. The other one was technically, just like the previous picture, during storm, we have to move a lot, we have to move fast, we have to do a lot of different things for a lot of different reasons. So we had to create sort of a technical resiliency as much as a mental resiliency. Plus, there is a physical aspect of this. During the first days of March, we decided to do 100% remote work. So it was a sharp decision. It was necessary, and that's sort of the initial response, sort of a reflex response to being under the threat of a pandemic. And we can look at how we achieved these these mental reinforcements. So let's look at that. One of the things we do, we started a program even before pandemic, but this became really useful during the pandemic as well. We have a mentorship program that we call Sensei and the Grasshopper. And it is a program designed for people to get mentorship inside the company. And it is driven by the Grasshopper. Anybody can pick their own sensei, and all the everybody can become both a sensei and a grasshopper at different capacity. So this was sort of an internal mentorship program that we had to use and boost during the pandemic, so that make sure everybody has someone to talk to. Another thing we use is the dojo hours. Dojo is a place in the Japanese culture. It's a place where they teach kids how to do the sport kendo, and it's not just the martial arts. It's not about teaching martial arts, but it's also teachings about the moralities and values and culture as well. So we took this locational concept, the dojo, as a place to grow, and we turned it into a time concept, and we created dojo hours. Again, this started before the pandemic, but it became really useful during the pandemic. We dedicated 1 hour each week to discussing different topics, and I can give you some examples of how it looks like and what we do. So for instance, we covered cognitive obesity. This is when you are tied to the computer all day working from home, and at some point you start losing your ability to learn new things, and sort of your brain becomes overwhelmed. But it's not just that. We have a whole different catalog of different dojo hours. Over time, for the last 2 years, we just checked, we have around 50 different dojo hours dedicated to explaining or helping our people get better and learn from different items. These are just cover sheets from different dojo hours prepared by each of us, different samurais. And it's just to give you an idea what sort of topics we use and how do we present them. And you can see it ranges from social events to like a product management frameworks like jobs to be done, to mobile games, to different different topics. And this is, of course, this helps a lot, but then how do we keep track of this, and how do we make sure the learnings we got from these dojo hours stays within the company? And for that, we created something called a Wikimurai. It's a very simple internal website. It's a content management system. We use Google Sites to build it internally. And again, it started 2 years ago, but became super useful for the last 6 months. And again, here we record every dojo hour. We record all our internal trainings plus some actual other resources, and we use it we upload it to Wikimurai, and then everybody can reread them, can rewatch them, get caught up on what needs to be done, and so on. And on the bottom right corner, you can see there's a pencil icon. That means everybody can edit this. So just like a real Wikipedia, this is something for everybody to add and change things and make sure it grows as the company grows. Because again, a startup doesn't just grow based on the number of people who work there. A startup can only grow if people sort of improve themselves, develop themselves. And that's sort of the main philosophy we had. And we really doubled down on this during the pandemic as well. Try to make sure everybody excels at what they do, and sort of none of us have the luxury to be the same person who we were 6 months ago. And Wikimurai is sort of here to help us keep track of all this. And we also did some financial control. I think Emre is the best person to help explain us here.
Yeah, definitely. So this event, actually, this pandemic is strange, and this is the first time we are facing an event like this. So normally, honestly, we get used to macro events related to regional risks. But with this event, we faced with a global risk. So it's not only affecting our region or Turkey, it's affecting almost all countries. It means that it can affect our revenue or our cash position deeply. In 2016, once we started AppSamurai, our revenue from global customers outside of Turkey was around 20%. It was low. And we aim to increase that because we want to eliminate geographical risks related to our region. And today, around 85% of revenue is coming from outside of Turkey. But we understand that during this pandemic, it's not enough. So you need to eliminate any risk, any global risk as well. So especially in April, May, we noticed that some revenue decline from all products, independent from product or your solution. And we started to act. I am not going to deep dive, but I can say that with our great finance team and great CFO, we checked all SaaS tools, for instance, and we created a system where we were measuring ROI of these tools, and we noticed that some of the tools we need to eliminate, we need to directly terminate. For others that we started to negotiate with them, because this is not a unique thing that we are facing. It's not there only for us. So we try to negotiate with other startups or big corporates, and honestly, they understood that, and we got huge discounts from 20 to 50% from almost all solutions that we are using, and it affected our cash flow directly. On the other hand, we tried to work culture or office culture in a different way, and we try to decrease our office expenses because we are now living in a world where we all connect via Zoom or other online channels. So it also helped us, and also we review all of the team members or all of the team, and we optimize that as well. And after that, with this section, we promised ourselves with our finance team, we will not wait for another pandemic event to take these actions. So it's created a more disciplined way to manage our financials and our cash. And one of our investors, one of our board members told me that, Emre, you need to keep your eye only on cash during this pandemic, because it's not only related to cost, it's also related to account receivable, because most of the companies tend to pay late or even not pay. So managing cash is crucial during this time, and it doesn't mean that you are going to collect your money because you invoice them. So we closely monitor our cash flow, our receivables, and also cost items, and I think we did a great job. And we are continuing to apply these methods, and we are trying to keep our discipline at same level, even we are in a better macro conditions.
Yeah, and I think so. We talked about reinforcing the team. We talked about reinforcing the financials, but there is also something else we haven't talked about, sort of reinforcing the leadership. And when I say the leadership, the co-founders and the leads. And in that sense, there was one thing that really stood out that helped us a lot, and that was the town hall, which is organized by 2 on 2. And we were able to share and listen to other founders and listen to others people working in the portfolio companies about their problems, share our problems, and it really made us feel we are not alone in this. So that was tremendously helpful with the guest speakers or with internal sort of sessions. That was tremendously helpful for the leadership team. And I think App Samurai, we really try to benefit a lot from this, just joining as much as we can with a lot of people in the leadership team as well. So that was also super useful. And so we, up until this now, we sort of talked about the macro stuff, how we did it. In the next is to really focus on. We also did some reforms internally, especially in the leadership structure. And one of the things we did was to switch to a captain structure, where and this is sort of to really help us focus and unify all the efforts. And that the captain structure basically means a product has a captain who's responsible for everything, and of course everything about it, and accountable for everything about it. And it's also great that we have a captain here. Aykut is the captain, so he can tell us a lot more about that.
Thank you, Emre. I mean, at the beginning, of course, it was a challenge for us, because like it's really hard to balance how to be a product leader and how to be a captain, because while you're being a captainship, what you need to do is focusing on a single aim and single North Star metric. But when you are a function leader, of course, you need to focus on only the function itself and perfectioning it. I mean, that was the challenge at the beginning, but then we realized that it's actually pretty similar. And when you apply this captain framework very well, you can enable everyone to focus on a single metric, single North Star metric. And that was the main benefit, actually. The main benefit is focusing on a single thing. And now I guess it's working because I'm a head of product and I am a captain, but other captains are from operations department. I mean, App Samurai captain is the head of operations, and for the intercepted, again, head of consultancy is the captain actually. So having cross-discipline at the leadership was a helpful thing, and enabling everyone to focus on a single North Star metric was another good aspect of it actually. Yeah.
So then the focus, being able to focus is the main theme around it. And focus is really something we pay a lot of we pay a lot of attention to. And because it's sort of there were lots of unknowns. Focus was the main thing that we try to accomplish. Simplify the operations, focus on one key golden metric, simplify sort of the leadership and accountability structure, and that's how I think that's the whole way of moving forward for us, and it was what made us really happy with the whole structure and system. And of course, moving forward, we can look at what's ahead of us. And just coming back to today, this is how it feels a lot more. We are looking towards the future in a way, and the storm is not over. It's not. There's still a pandemic around the world, but now the function of unknowns are more in control compared to the beginning of the year or compared to March. And now we are looking ahead, and we want to launch. We have a great product. We want to launch it, and from there on, I think it's great. I'll leave it to Aykut to tell us more about it.
Thank you, Emre. And let me share my screen. I guess it will stop your screen, but that's okay, of course. Okay, I guess you're able to see it now. Are you able to see it, Emre?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, I'll try to keep it short. At least I'll try it. I mean, we have talked about change, and during this pandemic, everything is changed. Not only us, but pretty much everything. And one of the things that has changed a lot is actually end users, mobile end users. So how people use their phones, how people use their mobile application is also changing. And that's why it needs something to be done in in-app engagement life cycle of mobile end users. That's why I will start to explain how typical in-app engagement life cycle to you guys. Normally, as product managers, we investigate in-app engagement lifecycle within three main categories. The first one is onboarding. You need to onboard your users. You need to welcome them very well. You need to get the permissions you need. And when you have a new feature, you need to tell about this feature very well to adopt them to increase your conversions, actually. And the second one is nurturing. In the nurturing phase, you need to focus on how you can increase LTV you got from your users. So that's why you need to have the engagement tools. You need to have push notifications or in-app messages, in-app service to get some insights, or maybe app reviews to increase your level at the App Store and Play Store. And lastly, there's an attrition lifecycle. And in the attrition lifecycle, of course, everyone at some point leave the application. But before they left the application, they can invite some of their friends maybe, and they can be a viral source for you. So you need to decrease the churn, and every time you need to focus on increasing virality of your application. that's basically three main category of in-app engagement lifecycle. And when you look at that picture from product manager's view, like if you use any in-app engagement tool like Lean, Plum, Braze, whatever you have, it's like taking a picture with SLR, because it's really hard to use. And when you take the picture, you cannot play with the scene. I mean, if the lighting was bad, then the result might be bad, and you cannot do some post-production. So it's pretty static. Like you can create an art from that, but it can suck up actually. So that's really risky part of using those tools in the in-app engagement lifecycle. And I have a number for you, 97%. Do you have any guess what that number is? Emre abi, do you have any guesses?
I hope it's not the inflation rate.
It can be after today, but let's see. I mean, that's a like percentage of churn user after day 30. Like it's an average number. So of course there are a lot of apps, they have better numbers, but like it's really like drives me nuts, because like there's a huge opportunity here. 97% of your users are leaving your application after day 30. Like that is kind of crazy, and this is madness. Yeah, listen.
To clarify, so today I acquire 100 users, and
yes,
1 month later I lost 97 of them.
Yeah, and then you will have
an average, of course.
users. Yeah, that's the average number of users. So that is how the problem is actually. But I'll talk about another topic I have today. In 2013, really something magical happened in the mobile world. Like no one was expecting that. It was a completely revolutionary experience. So do you have any guess for that? I mean, what was the thing that happened in 2013? It was not a hard question, because like our tool's name is Story. Actually, Story is invented by Snapchat at 2013. And then Instagram adopted it in 2016. Like after 3 years, they have kind of stolen it and play with it. And then all of the mobile application, Facebook, YouTube, Medium, even Twitter and LinkedIn now, are using that story format with different names, with kind of different UX gimmicks. So stories are now everywhere. I mean, when you open any social application, you will see a content formatted in a story format actually. So now I have another number, and that is a positive number, 42%. And do you have any guess for that? I mean, 42 is a pretty popular number, because like it's kind of meaning of life. But this 42% is like how many users are only use story in Instagram. 42% of Instagram users are only using stories in the Instagram. They are not sending any message. They are not checking posts. They are not checking their notifications. They are only seeing their stories. So that's an important number, because like Instagram has a lot of UX gimmicks in it. But number one UX item in that platform is story actually. So what's up with that? We have a round, and then we have a full screen image. Maybe there are a couple of interactive components within that full screen image. Why that is so popular? We need to understand that to apply it in any of solutions we have actually. That was the main question we are focusing on at the beginning of that project. So let's check behind the scenes. First of all, they're using a time span for creating FOMO. Like if you don't touch your screen while you're watching stories, after 7 seconds, it will like animate and you will see the next story. So you want to control your phone. That's why you are using your gesture. You are using taps, you are using swipe ups, swipe downs, whatever you have actually. So then you will get used to that experience, and you will be an expert to use it actually. So that's one gimmick they use. And the second one is, of course, animations. Every interactions you have in Instagram, you will get a feedback, and the feedback loop will be closed once you see those animations, I mean, if you play with the like rating bar, or if you like send a like emoji, you will see animations all over the place. Or like if the countdown ends, then you will see celebration animations. It closed the feedback loop, and in the UX world, if the feedback loop is closed, then you will get a sense to answer more for those kind of interactive components. And the third, of course, the full screen experience. In the full screen experience, there is no distraction, only single intent. I mean, think about Amazon's payment page. In the payment page, there's no menu. The only button you can use is actually pay button. So that was their approach to increase their payment conversions. It's pretty similar approach here. Since you will have a single intent, the conversion rates will be a lot higher when you compare it to native UX UI components in the mobile experience. And lastly, the ring colors. That's funny, but when you see a colored ring, you will know that there's a new content, and users love new content. They when they see a new thing for themselves, they want to check it and they want to finish it, because like when they see it, it will be grayed out. So that's another gimmick within the stories. That's why it's so popular. The conversion rates are really high when you compare it to another carousels or list views or any other news feed in the mobile application. But is it applicable to everywhere? Of course not. We have known that there are a lot of criticism about stories, like, is it appropriate for any application? Sometimes people are complaining about it. But when they complain about stories, they are not complaining about the format. They are complaining about how it will be used in that application. So in that sense, there are two different approaches. The first one is user-generated content, and the second one is brand-generated content. If you let your users generate the content for you, there are a couple of downsides of it. The first one is you need an editorial effort, because like anyone can put any kind of story in that platform. And if you are an app owner, and if that is not a social platform, it might be inappropriate for other users. And the second one is like stories are valid for some specific contexts and verticals. If the user generates the content of stories, then it should be a social platform. I mean, it's not valid for food application, or maybe like health and fitness application or health application. It's only valid for the social media. And lastly, CAM and albums usage need a permission, and when you need extra permission in your application, your conversions will be lower. So that's why most of the app owners are hesitant to get those kind of permissions. But in the brand generated content side, there are really huge upsides. There are a couple of stats I will share. The first one is like 1/3 most viewed Instagram stories are coming from actual businesses. So when you open the Instagram, you can watch brand stories and what brands told to you. And the second one is 1 in 4 millennials check the stories before they buy anything from specific brands. And lastly, 85% of them watch the whole story. They're not skipping it. They're not closing it. They are consuming the content. It shows that story format is working. So these are our like info gatherings before we move on with that story project. So we first talk about the problem. I mean, taking a photo with an SLR machine without any post-production and without any lighting structure. What if we change that metaphor with stories? What if we put a tool for mobile applications and enable all the product managers and marketing managers to communicate with their users in a more fashionable and stylish way? I mean, we created Storyly, and Storyly basically a lightweight SDK. You need to integrate that SDK to mobile application, and then you can manage all the content via the dashboard. And in the dashboard, we have also do-it-yourself studio, and I will show pretty screenshot from that studio as well. And without any code, you can try as many things as you want in the application. That's why you can increase your conversions, you can like increase your retention rates and your session times, basically. How to tell a story with Storyly. The first one is automation. Why automation? You can gather content from Instagram and YouTube. We have direct integrations. Also, if you have RSS feed or maybe like CRM tool feed, we can gather content from those data sources as well to create beautiful stories for the mobile apps users. And the second one is using Studio. By using Studio, you can create many interactive components and interactive stories. You can get some insights from your users. So there are certainly two types of creating stories. And I'll talk about the value proposition we have with Storyly. The first one is onboarding, of course. Like onboarding is the main thing if you want to increase LTV of your users, because like when you onboard them, they will be able to use all of your features and they will spend more time within the application. So that feature focuses on onboarding flows. It can be opened automatically, or you can let them open whenever they want. So you will have higher feature adoption rates, actually. We have pretty templates for the onboarding flow. That's one aspect of it. And the second one is using interactions to increase your conversions. Like you can do a lot of personalization with the stories. You can customize them according to your user groups or maybe specific users. So by using those personalization and some pretty interactive components, it will directly increase your conversion, sales conversion. We have a couple of use cases before, like previous customers that shows how Storyly affected conversion of that mobile application. And the third one is it's a new way of monetization because it's a premium placement. Like in the application, Story has got really great place, and all of the story groups can be managed by a dashboard. Thanks to that feature, you can sell those, app owners can sell those story groups to their customers as well. And by selling those story groups, your partners or suppliers may conduct some surveys, maybe they gather some insights from your niche consumers and users. And that's the premium way of monetization. And again, we have a couple of customers who are actually selling stories, and they rebranded stories actually with their name as well. So that's another aspect of using Story. And the fourth one is getting insights. Most of the application has in-app surveys, and they are using some in-app survey tools. And normally, when you conduct a survey in mobile application, the average completion rate is around 3-4%. It's industry average. But what we have seen with Storyly is like 70% of users who saw that specific question or that specific survey finish that survey, and that's an amazing number for the app owner, because like it's easy to create that survey, and it's easy to gather all of the raw data and use it in remarketing activity maybe, or maybe use it in for any like special campaigns and offers within the application. So that is another aspect of using to gather some insight from your end user. And lastly, creating a virality. All of the stories can be shareable, and without any code, without any integration, you can create shareable content within the application. And when the user shares your story from your application in their WhatsApp group maybe, or maybe Facebook group, if anyone clicks on that URL, and if they don't have your application, then we redirect them to the App Store or Play Store. So it will be an organic growth channel for the mobile application. So every app deserves amount of like word of mouth marketing, and sort of enable app owners to use those word of mouth marketing for their application as well. What's core differentiator? Why they do not develop it from scratch? It's because it's really hard to do it in Android, Apple, React Native, or Flutter. So in Storyly, we have 4 different SDKs, and we support all of the platforms. Even Apple couldn't sustain their backward compatibility for their Xcode, the development environment. But right now in Storyly, we support all of the Swift platforms. And after API 19, we support all of the Android versions. So that is one of the main competitive advantage for Storyly. And the second one is we provide the media infrastructure. Probably you are using a lot of applications, like other than the social media giants, no one serves video. Why? The cost is too high. And it's really hard to scale media infrastructure when you have more than 1 million users. But since Storyly know-how came from ad network, we really know how to deal with huge load of traffic and huge load of media serving activity. That's why in Storyly, you don't need to serve your media. We are doing it for the customer. So that's another aspect of differentiators of Storyly actually. Let me summarize what Storyly is. It's very popular right after Apple event using cards. I mean, we have a studio to create the stories, and you can create personal stories out from that studio. You can use 7 types of different insightful interactions. You can use Storyly for your premium monetization opportunities, or you can use it for interactive video experience up to 30 minutes. And you can also use Storyly to create all of your onboarding processes and feature adoption processes. And all of it comes with no code required. So that's something we are really proud of. What we need to do is just integrating the SDK, then you're able to use all of the features actually. And like integration takes a couple of hours just. So far so good. Better Me, Maçkolik, Yapı Kredi, Bir Bank from Azerbaijan, Kahve Dünyası and Flow from Turkey. Like one of them is loyalty app, another one is e-commerce app. There are like around 100 customers who are using Storyly currently. But we dream big. We dream more than that. We need to be market leader. So that's why we are still working hard on Storyly. And what we will do is like creating new content sources for studio, creating new interactions and the web support. But the thing which really excites me is interactive live stream, because like live stream is a huge and popular topic in China, and it's coming to Europe and US as well. There are a couple of startups who are like trying to create some live stream experiences, but with Storyly, within a couple of months, all of the app owners will be able to do some interactive live stream videos. And after we will have enough publishers, maybe we can create a monetization network between our own customers. That might be another like level and step for Storyly. And after all of it, maybe we can travel to Mars. We hope before Elon, of course. And all of these, again, will be no code required for the developers of mobile application. So here is a couple of screenshots from what we have. We have a dashboard, we have a studio, and we have a good SDK, which anyone can integrate with their application. That's pretty much it, actually. Emre, I will let you conclude all of the topics we have discussed today.
Thank you so much. That was really awesome to hear, and really get to know. You just listen to a captain, basically. That's how it works. And just to I think reiterate what we had today was really reinforcing the technical, mental, and physical well-being of the company. That's the culture, and we relied heavily on our cultural mythology that we built on the Japanese history, and then we sort of internalized it. So it's not exactly a Japanese history or terms, but we sort of created our own cult, so to say. And we also we looked at the captain structure. You just heard Aykut. That's the beauty of a captain. That understands the whole product and then able to explain all the details and what's in the future. And of course, this the whole thing comes because during the pandemic, we really focused on the customer. Everything you just listened was mostly developed under this sort of a stress of a pandemic. But we were able to keep the team going and get things, get people excited, change the focus from, oh, what's going to happen in the world, to let's hear from the customers. And I could start at the presentation by saying, look, people are behaving differently now, and that's what we focused on, and that's how that's where we are. The journey is still still continues, and we are still all students of the whole thing. We are still learning about it and trying to understand how to do it better. So again, it was great to share with you what we have and what we have done, and what we have what are our plans and hopes for the future. It would be again, it would be very interesting to hear your suggestions, your questions, comments from everybody.
Okay, thank you guys. It was very interesting. So I just posted in the chat session that if we have any questions. How about the team members? How do they take it, this situation? I mean, I know that as a leadership, you guys basically communicated and everything, but did you guys have any problems, and what was the main problem that you were facing?
I think just from at least from my window, what I can see, of course, on a personal level, it was super impactful because number one, everybody has their family members. They're worried. Some of them have parents with some pre-existing conditions, health conditions. Some of them have kids that they're worried about. They have to go to school, especially during the first couple of months. Having parents at home and kids at home was a big challenge for people who have to balance taking care of the kids as well as working and attending all these meetings. Because from a kid's perspective, the parents are home, so that means we have to play or we have to be together. But that was sort of that was the difficult part. Apart from that, of course, there's also a worry about just the uncertainty, the ambiguity creates a lot of stress, and that's where sort of the community feeling, the culture, and coming together helps a lot. We have done these sort of dojo hour sessions with the whole team, but we also have done a lot of one-on-ones with other team members, or sometimes it's just a casual coffee meetings online. But we try to emphasize to everybody that we are in this together. Of course, there will be we don't know when this whole thing is going to be over. So one thing we try to avoid was to give deadlines. We've never said, look, it's going to be okay by the end of June or July or by the end of the year. We still don't say something like that. That's sort of a key message, because we don't know. So that's something out of our control. But the best thing is to share what we know and what we don't know, and make sure we support each other.
Excellent. Thank you, Emre. We have a question from Batu. He's asking if the story can be triggered by a push notification with a specific deep link, such as exposed via deep link. I mean, do you guys expose story to the deep links?
Yeah, we are like, it's perfectly possible to do that. I mean, that's one of the specific use cases we have. There are three main types of opening story. One is using deep links, and you can use those deep links with push notification, just like Batu offered. And the second one is opening stories by using a function in the application. So without touching anything, you can open full screen content as well. And the last thing, of course, and like clicking on those rings or the cover images, it will open stories directly as well. So these are the three methods of opening story. And like by integrating with push notification, actually what you can do is like creating near conversion funnels. So that's an interesting thing. You can create a story for a specific product, and without any distraction, You can send a push notification to specific users, and when they click on that push notification, you can directly redirect them to add to basket page, maybe, or the payment page.
It's like a real-time interaction. What you are saying is immediately
and
getting a response and then have an interaction with the users.
Yeah, that's right.
It's great. How did you guys? How do you guys see the ongoing? I mean, how the market will evolve? What do you see it there? How the product will evolve? I mean, what is the directions that in this social media and then all the stuff going on?
I mean, I can answer that from Story angle, but of course, Emre will expand the answer from the company vision. For the story, we have seen that there are a couple of huge companies who are releasing new UX products, and they are trying to focusing on onboarding experience and the last step of conversion, finishing the conversion experience. And I know that from my previous experiences, there will be another revolution. So there will be another revolution just like story. We are trying to be the one who invents that revolution. So who start that revolution. That's why we are conducting a lot of usability research right now to create a beautiful experience for the mobile applications, because normally all of the mobile application UI items are actually derivatives of web UI items. Like people first created their websites, then they translate all of these UI items to their mobile application. That was the case previously, but it will be changed. Story is the first step. Probably there will be other UX items for the mobile applications.
I can add something to that. So I can recall that in 2016, once we were creating App Samurai platform, which is a user acquisition platform, we were not focusing on end user. So I guess as company, as a team, for maybe 18 months, we now understand that we are not in a B2B business. We are in a B2B2C business, because even with App Samurai, we need to acquire users for our customers, our app marketers. But in order to get users, we need to understand them. On the other hand, it's especially nowadays, especially this year, the term real user is crucial. So there's lots of fraud. On the other hand, it's very difficult to acquire users. Retargeting campaigns may not be possible after Apple's update. And we can see that there will be a shift in the market, especially on consumers, customer side, which is mostly driven by those changes. On the other hand, there are some changes, maybe physically, because I really believe that especially new generations, they are dopamine addicts. So it's changing because of this. I could give some numbers, and we can see that in Instagram, people are mostly using stories because it's giving dopamine immediately. And as App Samurai, we are trying to understand this shift, and we are trying to design our products based on this. So once we can better understand customers and their physical and behavioral changes, then we can create better mobile marketing products, because it's all about users and reaching real users and keeping them in your app. So this is my view.
Excellent, thank you. Max wants to know, what is the most important marketing instrument?
I mean, it's of course hard to answer because it depends on the application you have. It depends on the business you have. It can be your creative assets, or it can be just a word of mouth marketing. I mean, you can do something viral, and then people might talk about it and you can grow. Or you can be as sustainable as possible by using performance marketing, or you can do a content marketing. And like if you invest a lot to content marketing, that might be a really great marketing instrument for you, because everyone will start to share your knowledge and your knowledge base and your blog posts, whatever you have actually on the internet. That might be another instrument, of course. So it depends basically. But the thing is, if your product is great enough, it's really easy to find the best marketing instrument. That's
I guess we have a real life experience. 6-7 months ago, one of the blogs in France covered us.
Yeah.
Without after our first version product hunt launch. It's a great example of an organic growth method, because really once you have a great product and once you market your product or position your product in a better rate, then you can get organic traction or organic covers from media or all over the world, not only from your local country or your target countries.
I guess it also depends on what your end goal is, right? I mean, if your end goal is to sustain your users and retain it, then in-app and different kind of marketing tools. But if you want to get the new customers, then different approaches will be required.
Definitely.
By the way, the question was cryptid, kind of cryptid, and if you decrypt the question, Max was asking what is the most important marketing instrument tool to increase the number of onboardings. So probably that was the question. So for onboarding,
I guess Max is using our version of MacBooks.
Yeah, probably
keyboard
the
problems.
keyboard is broken. Yeah.
You are not alone, so
to increase the number of person who onboards your application, I mean, in the mobile world, native mobile world, they're really creepy tools because, like, according to different screen sizes, it can be broken because, like, you cannot parse the mobile application view. What you can do is like building views on top of the guess you have about the screen. So that's why, I mean, having full screen experience is #1 priority for onboarding. There are a couple of native ones, of course. Evernote comes to my mind. I mean, their experience is just they have built it from scratch and it was a great experience. By the way, Intercom has a great tool called mobile onboarding. And in the Intercom, you can use carousel-like mobile onboarding page. And again, it's like adapts to screen size. And we have a tool called Storyly. It's a perfect tool for onboarding users to mobile application. Yeah, these are the 3 ones, like developing it from scratch or using mobile carousels from Intercom or maybe Storyly. Those might be alternatives.
Excellent. I guess we don't have any other questions. In that case, I would like to thank you all for joining the panel, and I would like to thank our panelists for sharing us their experiences, and they're basically telling about Storyly, their story about Storyly. And we are looking forward to have you guys again in coming events, and we will be continuing to announce those monthly events, and then looking forward to having you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
It was a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed as much as we did.